Hello again, everyone. Edwin Leonard back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. I'm going to be talking about the Mars inconjunct the South Node in a natal chart. Now, some of you may remember when I first started my YouTube astrology channel, I did a series on the aspects in a natal chart. They're a little bit concise, and some people may have referred to them as snappy. So what I decided to do was make another series on them in which the videos would be a little bit longer and more descriptive. So anyway, first thing up is if you have Mars inconjunct the South Node in a natal chart, one way it may manifest could be an adjustment, which is the inconjunct, may be needed between doing things that you have the enthusiasm for, which is Mars, and those that you're naturally proficient in, which is the South Node. One or the other may be overemphasized. The key is to find balance and equilibrium between the two. You may either be dominated by, the things you have that natural enthusiasm for, which is Mars, and doing, to the expense of doing what you're naturally proficient in, which is the South Node, or vice versa. You may be dominated by activities that are connected with what you're naturally proficient in, which is the South Node, to the expense and exclusion of what you have that enthusiasm for, which is Mars. So the key, again, is to find, the harmony, the balance, the equilibrium between the energies. Now, let's say if the South Node is in Aries, as an example, those things you're naturally proficient in could be tied in with the military, carpentry, welding, exuding, leadership prowess and ability. It could be doing things that are pioneering and innovative, standing up for others, things associated with combat, such as combative sports, like karate, judo, wrestling, boxing, as some examples. Now, another thing, too, is that another way this aspect may be expressed in a natal chart is there may be an imbalance, which is the South Node, between activities that are associated with sexual partners, which is Mars, and those that are prominent in your past, which is the South Node. Now, it could be where, the people that are, sexual partners may monopolize your time and energy to the point where, to the exclusion in some cases, to the exclusion for some time, to those that were prominent in your past, which is the South Node, or it could be the other way around, that the people that were prominent in your past, which is the South Node, may monopolize your time to the expense of the sexual partner. So again, it's about the balance, the harmony, and the equilibrium with the energy. And let's say, if the South Node, is in Taurus, as an example, people prominent in your past, one or more may actually be a Taurus sun, moon, or ascendant, or simply embody the characteristics of the sign. It could be those that are stolid, stubborn, obstinate, persistent, persevering, patient, trustworthy. It could be, those that can be materialistic as well. But anyway, next thing about this, Mars inconjunct the South Node in the natal chart may also be expressed in having too much or too little energy and vitality, which is Mars, expended in doing things that you're naturally proficient in those built-in abilities, which is the South Node. It could be where you either expend an exorbitant amount of energy on those matters, and then there may be protracted periods where you just don't have anything to do with those things, where you're just like oblivious, to as far as expending energy on those matters. Now, if the South Node, say, is in Virgo, as an example, those things you're naturally proficient in, those built-in abilities, may be tied in with analysis, diagnosis. It may be compartmentalizing, organizing, cleaning, sanitation. It could be extrapolating data. It may be doing something, like in a Virgo-related field, whether it could be editing, proofreading, working as a professional organizer, something with sanitation, health and fitness, diet, working as a dietitian, a nutritionist, as some examples. Now, another thing too is, again, those people that were prominent in your past, which is the South Node, may either extremely admire and laud your courage and bravery, which is Mars, or there may be times where they either don't see it or be oblivious to it. So there again, you have that extreme energy, the vacillation and distortion of energy when you have the inconjunct aspects in a natal chart. And the thing about this, now let's say if you have your Mars in the zodiac sign Cancer as an example, you may express courage and bravery in home-related matters, being a good family defender, standing up for those you're close to home with. If let's say if Mars is in Gemini is another example. Courage and bravery may be through a lot of words and verbiage. It could be through writing, doing things, doing something, with the that requires dexterity, the use of hands, in an emergency situation, as some examples. And the thing about this too, and if you have Mars in conjunct the South Node in a natal chart, you may also go through extensive periods in terms of standing up, for those people, the South Node people. Other times not at all the people prominent in your past. And, it could be, the thing is, if, the South Node, let's say, is in Libra, those people prominent in your past, one or more may actually be a Libra sun, moon, or ascendant, or simply embody the traits of the sign. It could be those that are charming, diplomatic, tactful, cooperative, compromising, but at the same time may be ambivalent, indecisive, and desiring peace at any price. Also, too, there may be times when you have either a tremendous amount of drive and motivation, which is Mars, to express, those natural, the built-in abilities connected with the South Node placement. And other times, you may not have any drive or motivation, no incentive whatsoever. So let's say, if the South Node is in Aquarius, as an example, those built-in abilities may be tied in with humanitarian, altruistic work and endeavors, maybe doing things that are environmental, could be something with astrology, astronomy, computers, electronics, aviation, innovation, meteorology, as some examples. And also there may be times where you either have that exorbitant amount of enthusiasm, which is Mars, and in terms of going away from the negative qualities connected with the South Node placement, or none whatsoever. Now, if the South Node is in Pisces, as an example, maybe negative qualities, or it could be addictive qualities. It may be being overly impressionable or gullible, being vague and nebulous regarding what you're going to do in your life in general. If let's say if the South Node is in Aquarius, it could be extremely like rebellious, idiosyncratic behavior, non-conforming, being unique just for the sake of being different, whether it really is positive for you or not, as some examples. And the thing is, another way, that this aspect may manifest or pan out is that Mars-related people, may either be extremely beneficial and advantageous in terms of what you're trying to leave behind, or they just may not be helpful at all. Mars-related people, that covers a number of persons, whether it's sexual partners, leaders, surgeons, people that are in law enforcement. It could be those that are in, like the combative, type fields, such as like sports, like combat sports, as some examples. And let's say, if the South Node, is in Virgo as an example, those negative qualities connected with the South Node, or I should say, what you're trying to leave behind, maybe a situation, which maybe you expressed a lot of criticism, or a situation of frugality. Somehow, South Node in Capricorn can simply be a limiting or restricting situation. It may be one which had caused some despondency, some sadness, really, as some examples, or it could be career, ambitions that were not really, doing anything beneficial for the person, as some examples. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Leonard saying, stay well.